I've been talking a lot lately with people, and it's interesting. This theme keeps coming up, and people are sending me the Chinese zodiac about how this year that we're in right now is the year of the snake, which is shedding skin. And then next year, starting February 17th, I think it is, 2026, is the beginning of the year of the fire horse.
I like
And
that.
me too. And it's interesting because in one of our other episodes, you were like, "What animal would you be if you would be?" And I was like, "A
Oh
Mustang."
yeah.
Yeah, that
It's
was
your
like,
year.
yeah, exactly. Um, so it's like it's not just the horse; it's the fire horse. So it's like a horse on steroids, basically, just
Wow.
like free and lots of confidence and motivation and like things coming to you. Did you take your vitamins today, by
I
the way?
didn't, and it just
Your
reminded me
solar
that
ray vitamins?
no, I forgot I need to take them, but it's okay. It's still like, what time is it? We have a discount code they gave
We
us.
do. We'll drop it in it's the naked room, just all caps, like
Easy.
we're screaming at you, the naked room.
Ah,
No,
naked room.
the naked room. We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah,
But
I think
yeah,
it's like 10 or
20%
15,
off, 20,
20%.
twenty
Sick.
percent off. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
No dress code, no rules, just BYOU. It's time to tell society that it's a taboo. You can be the youest you here in the naked room.
I was just getting really stoked thinking about the other night. Was it last night? Oliver and I were having kind of like one of our like deep conversations just about like, I don't even know how we got on the subject, but we're just talking about like, well, that and just what a fucking year it was. 2025 was pretty like, I don't want to say rough because there were so many positive things that happened, but there was just a lot that
Yeah,
like it doesn't even feel, it just feels like a whirlwind where we're like, whoa, was that a whole year? And now we're, going into 2026. But anyway, I was encouraging him, slightly lovingly nudging him to do the like the journal entry thing that you and I both do. Like, I don't know if you do it the same way that I do, but usually like the last week of the year, I start in my journal, like I always make it really artsy because that's how I roll, but I'll do
yeah,
like 2026 and then I'll write down things that I want, like you're saying, either to accomplish that year or that I want to try to like manifest. And then I also go back to the year prior, the year like that we're, ending, and look at the list that I made the beginning of the year and do some comparisons and see what panned out and what didn't and why I think that they didn't. And I don't know, it's really powerful and it's really interesting, like, and to
yeah.
look
What?
back at even years before too. Like there's been a lot of things where I'm like, oh shit, I made that happen and I didn't even remember writing it down, and when it was happening in the moment, sometimes I didn't even realize it was something that I had anticipated wanting, or whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I wrote that down. And then towards the end of the year, that actually did happen, or whatever it is. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like that. The letting go, writing it and putting it out into the world, even if it's just to yourself in your journal.
Yeah.
um, you're putting that energy out there. And it's so interesting when it comes back to you and you like forgot that, like when you're holding on to something so tightly, like
Yeah.
to go down the route of talking about non-attachment and being kind of Buddhist, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when we're holding on to something so tightly, it's like the typical thing that we always hear is like, if you hold on too tightly, then it's going to move away from you, or it's going to like, not want to, like
Yeah.
people don't want to be restrained. They're like, let
You
me do
gotta
my,
hold
yeah,
on loosely, but don't let go.
yeah. Always goes back to music here. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we did talk at the end of one of our other episodes about that practice that Curtis and I do with like in hindsight, look at all of
Mm-hmm.
these things that ended up working out better than we were expecting.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like it's really similar. You're not like consciously doing it, but you write these things down and you're like, oh my God, like this stuff that
Mm-hmm.
I like forgot about actually happened. That's,
And then like
I need to take a
last
lesson from your
year
book.
was like, I think last year, I feel like when I went and looked, at the year prior, I was like, oh, I don't know if I made any of that stuff come true. But, I was like, okay, let's pivot. Like, we don't need to focus on that. Like, let's go month by month. And last year, I decided to be like, January, what's something that what's positive that happened February, March, and like broke it down that way, even if it was just little things, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes it was as simple as like our house didn't burn down when many people's did or whatever, you know, like it's like there's
Yeah.
things that maybe I didn't anticipate and write down the year before, but like still became, you know, part of our year and was something to be grateful for. So
I'm personally just so done with 2025, and I'm not somebody who's like, I'm gonna wish my life away or I'm gonna like focus solely on the future. But
yeah.
I'm done, and I think a lot of other people are done. That seems to be
Yeah,
the sentiment. And
it is.
um I am really excited to see what's gonna come up for 2026. But I wanted to pose this question to you and also to myself, but I feel like it's something that is on a lot of people's minds, and I thought that maybe it would be a good way to get people thinking about what their next year is going to look like and reflecting on what
Mm-hmm.
they did love about 2025, but also about what they're ready to kind of rid themselves of. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I plead the fifth. I cannot answer the question because it did not come out of a jar. So next. No, I'm just kidding.
That's fine. We
Did
can
you just
leave it.
give me a raw dog question?
I did. Well, they're all raw dog questions,
There
but
are raw dog.
we can kind of just open it up for people
Yeah.
to contemplate. And I guess I'll say one of the things that I really want to try to shed is um okay, so I put myself out there a lot in certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
But then in other ways when I'm noticing I'm afraid I'm going to get rejected or not hear something back, like with trying to ask people to partner with us for this
Yeah.
podcast or to like ask a favor or something. That kind of stuff, I'm like afraid that I'm going to put somebody out or somebody's going to be like annoyed that I'm even asking. And I realize that I think a lot of people appreciate when someone reaches out and asks for what they want.
Yeah,
So,
because it empowers them to do the same, I think. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I get where like that makes sense for sure. I think you're not alone, you know, that
No.
people project that and be like, and it's not even that you're probably not even projecting the annoyment. Is that a word?
And
The person being annoyed as much as it's just the rejection of it, like
yeah.
getting back. Although I don't know, you might agree that like in this industry, that feels weird to say, but I guess I'll glom it all together. Like we've worked in TV and, you know, entertainment and sports and whatever, and podcasting, I feel like falls into that. Sometimes it's better. It's like I know that you'll agree with this because I was along for your ride when you were up for a job at a place where you like kept getting kind of like left on the line a little bit. I would much rather get an email or a response for somebody saying no thank you than like no response at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess like maybe it's not rejection, it maybe is just that projection of, you know, are they going to get this and be like, how, what, who do they think they are? This little
Yeah.
podcast asking us for, you know, support. But
Yeah.
in the end, it's like, I don't know. So I guess circling it back to you saying like, what do what do you like want to, you know, whatever, drop off in 2025 and like have more of in 2026. I've been trying to build and build and build and build upon my like fuck it mentality, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like just like fuck it. And it is getting so much easier. I was talking to Oliver about it last night where I was like, something just shifts where you get so, and it doesn't feel like initially I feel like I do this check of myself where I'm like, is it like ego, you know, or is it like a holier than thou thing to be like, I just don't even want to talk about that. But this is going to go on such a tangent, big surprise. We were talking about how I don't know if it's as you get older, if it has anything to do with age, or if it's just enlightenment as a human, or just maybe getting tired, but conversations that are like kind of vapid and empty and like don't kind of you know, touch upon something like greater and bigger go from feeling like, well, whatever, I'll entertain this and I'll like talk to this person about this. Like he was talking about a conversation he had recently with somebody who was just making a comment on like someone else's behaviors, like, oh, like why do you think they lie or something? And it's like he was like, it was so weird. I just felt so like I think he's getting to that point because he's a little bit younger than me. He's robbing the cradle a little bit. He's finally getting to the point where he's feeling like, oh, like I don't even want to entertain that conversation. I just, like it just seems like such a waste of time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that more and more and more, and I'm becoming more comfortable with it and finding more graceful ways of like snubbing those conversations out a little bit or redirecting them in a way that I feel like might benefit the evolution of myself and the person I'm in the conversation with, like rather than just being like, right, yeah, I don't know how that person like has that money, job, whatever, cool. It's just like, I don't know, I don't even know how we got on that, like how it shifted to that. But I guess what I'm saying is like I think that all we have the power to do being in this like on this small platform that we've built so far, like this little foundation we've put under ourselves that hopefully will just keep getting higher and bigger and stronger, is to just put ourselves out there and believe in what our message is, and that is our brand, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
if you're not reaching out, not just you, but you've been doing a lot of it. If we're not reaching out and just kind of like showing that we are bold and believe in what we do and like what we're going to be building, then no one else, it's like they're not
Yeah.
going to find us any other way.
Right.
Yet. So I think
Yes.
that you're validated in feeling that way for sure, but also fuck it.
Yeah. Well, I keep thinking I'm a visionary in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like I have big visions, and that's what Niles, the podcast reader, the tarot reader, told me.
I was like, he's watching our podcast. I love Niall.
It's like he's like, you're a bit of a visionary. This was years ago. It was like right after I started Red Bull, like 8 years ago or something. And I was like, I'll take that one. I will store that one away. But I have to add to that. I have big visions for what this can become, and I keep thinking from the perspective of like, creative visualization, and like, how Bonnie Raitt visualized, I don't know if you know this or not, but Bonnie Raitt visualized seeing herself on the stage winning a Grammy, and she like even envisioned what clothes she was going to wear. And so I keep having that vision of myself in the green suit, like on a stage. And I don't know what that's affiliated, like I haven't known what that's affiliated with or like why that's going to happen, but I just see it. And I'm like, it must be because of this platform or something affiliated with it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the idea, the thing that I keep coming back to is I have to keep focusing on that bigger picture creative visualization of achieving the thing. Because when you're first getting started, and I don't think enough people get credit for this, but when you're first getting started, and we see the people who've already been successful, like Sara Blakely, for instance, who started Spanx. Her story is, I had $5,000 and I went around and pitched like these pantyhose. these pantyhose with the feet cut out. Yeah. And she was getting rejected a lot, but I'm like, she supposedly started with $5,000, which she started in the early 2000s, went a little farther than it does now. But she just kept putting herself out there over and over and over again. And
just like, picture it, I'm calling it Pantyholes. See her in like a pitch meeting.
Pantyholes.
Pantyholes.
No. Yeah, but she probably got rejected a lot at first, and now it's like everybody's knocking at her door because she's achieved this thing. But and then we see like the Forbes 30 under 30 list that just came out, and like super stoked to celebrate people who are achieving these things, especially at such a young age. That's really cool.
Mhm.
But I think that these lists and seeing these people who've already achieved the thing leaves out so much of the story. And
Yeah.
I think what I do a lot of the times is focus on the end result instead of like when I'm looking at what this is going back to comparisons again, but you're looking at what someone else has achieved. I keep thinking, okay, you and I are going to get there. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're going to keep doing this thing and we're going to put ourselves out there and everything and just keep telling everyone everything about our lives in the hopes that it's going to help other people
We've
feel.
barely scratched the surface.
Yeah, exactly. We barely scratched the surface, but we're going to keep putting our messaging out there in the hopes that other people will start to have more open, deep, real conversations because
Yeah.
my prediction for 2026 is that is going to keep getting more and more relevant and more important to people because
Yeah.
people want to connect, people want to hear good storytelling. And um I I have to remember that this is part of the journey. I think is
Yeah.
what it comes down to is the part where people are not beating down your door yet. You have to beat down other people's doors, but eventually the tables will turn.
It switches. Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you think drives you to achieve something? Like, what is your motivation? I feel like I was listening to another podcast today and they were interviewing somebody and he's like, I have like an achievement addiction. And I was thinking of you and I was like, it's not, you're not addicted to the achievement, but there's something behind it. And I don't think that it's like, well, I'll let you answer, but I'm like, what? I wonder if you could like pin it to one thing. Like, what is the byproduct of achieving something that like feeds you?
There's definitely ego in there for sure.
Honest
Um,
answer. Love it.
yeah, there's definitely some ego, but there's there's a deeper for specifically for the messaging and the thing that you and I are doing here and what our deeper purpose is.
I think in general, like
Oh,
in a
I'm saying,
bigger, oh,
yeah,
okay.
I was saying like that's to connect back to what the deeper purpose is between what you
Yeah.
and I are doing. Um, I just feel this deep pull to set an example as
Mm-hmm.
as women and be the ones who are doing the thing that we want to see, the type of change that we want to see,
Yeah.
like like using our voices and talking into a microphone. Like there are a lot of men who are like, oh, I'm going to do this thing and then just start it. Like
Yeah.
but women tend to be a little bit more like tentative about it because
Mm-hmm.
of the programming that we've received for all of these years, for eons. It's interesting. One of the sentiments, whenever like I was texting with one of our mutual friends yesterday, and I was like, I'm like doubting myself and this or that, and she's like, just think from the perspective of what would a white man do, and I'm like,
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm taking my feminine and woman energy into 2026, but I'm going to try to think from the perspective of I I don't have anything to lose. I don't have any like might as well
Yeah.
just do it because if not me, then someone else and like why not me? Like that's really the biggest takeaway I think.
Yeah. I also think like, I don't know about you, but like, I think a lot of people put themselves in a position where they know that they won't be rejected, you know, like, or I mean, we all go through some form of rejection, whether it be like relationships or jobs or whatever, like you're not
Yeah.
chosen for the kickball team or like whatever it might be. But
I can't
in
believe you
most
brought that up.
cases, I know, I'm so sorry as a source. But in most cases, I think it's just human nature to be like, I think I'll be good at this thing. So let me like, do this. Or I think this person, like you automatically try to set yourself up for a win. And so I don't think that we're that as calloused to rejection as we feel like we might be at this age. So I think also thinking of it as like, what a great opportunity to kind of like, experience a little more of that, whether it be like humbling or just like to kind of like make it easier to kind of shake that off and just be like, all right, that,
Yeah.
like, we're not top 10 podcasts yet, like whatever, like that, like,
Mm.
and to kind of echo your sentiment on the achievement for you being women hearing us and like seeing that like you can do this. I don't think that it takes like you being on on that stage in that green power suit for that to happen. Like that's
Right.
happening right now, even if we have fucking 40 listeners or whatever it might be. But at the same time, I think that I understand your perspective being like, but getting somewhere that's like top tier is like a sure thing that you have inspired, like it is saying like you've definitely reached. I almost said retched. You retched. You've definitely you've definitely reached like, however many people, and like, and that people are responding to it and feeling it and understanding it and are inspired by it. But I think that it's also important that we not lose sight of the fact that no matter if it's like one listener or 1 million listeners, that someone who has decided to just keep listening, or
Mm-hmm.
even just listen to one of the 10 episodes or 11 episodes or whatever we have out right now, if they get one little piece of advice that helps them, then that's such a huge success. Like,
Yeah.
there's been like, I don't like, I am not like I'm not an Oprah fan, but I'm not somebody who like watched her growing, like I don't like,
Yeah.
I just feel like there are people who are like Oprah and they just worship her. But when I talk to people going through divorce, and like they're like, oh, you went through divorce, like what do you do you have like advice, or what made you realize? It's so funny that like I remember the moment that that I was like, oh, like that resonates with me, and that's what it took for me to be like, okay, yeah, was a book my mom gave me that somebody I think just gave her, and she was like, I don't want this Oprah book. And so she gave me this book, and I was young, so I was like, cool, I'll put this on the coffee table or whatever. I was going through a shitty day, and I opened up the book to a random page, and it said, if the horse is dead, get off. And I
Mm.
was like, this horse is so fucking dead, and I should have
Mm.
gotten off miles ago. So like, I didn't continue listening to Oprah. I didn't go in and dive into like all the content that she's ever put out, but that one little thing that she put in a book that maybe she didn't even say inspired and gave me the fuel to do something so big in my life that I feel like I encourage you to realize that we could be doing that now. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, you're so right. I think I love it's funny because I know all of this. Like I know that
Yeah.
it's about the snippets and it's about the touching the one person. Okay, that reaching one
Reaching
person.
out.
We don't
Touching you.
we're not touching anyone without consent. No, we're reaching people wherever they are. And it's interesting what is going to reach someone versus not, what's going to resonate versus not. Like you might throw a little thing out there into the world, or I might, and we think that it's just a throwaway. And
Yeah.
that might be the thing that someone really, really connects with. That's interesting. A couple friends reached out to be like, really great episode today, talking about Diesel and loss and
Oh,
all
yeah.
that. And one of them said that their husband connected with the dog loss, and the other one said that they connected with the first love loss. So
That's pretty
there's
cool.
Yeah, so there's multiple components. Like I think anyone who's had a pet and loved them and lost them is going to connect with what you said about Diesel. But yeah, it's a good reminder though. I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes. So,
Yeah.
and there we go. Take that into 2026.
I like it. That's a good
Yeah,
nugget to
give yourself a little
brag
bit more
on.
credit. Yeah, it's so easy to have big visions, like especially if you are someone who is driven and motivated, like wants to achieve certain things.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live life along the way too, and
Yeah.
grab the nuggets as they come.
It is really hard to be somebody who takes like achieving or goal, like is goal oriented and takes things like that so serious. And you know that it takes a lot of hard work and it takes commitment and, it takes consistency. It's really hard to balance or to find the balance between being that and also knowing that it's like all really not that serious. Like, that we're
No,
like
yeah,
a speck on a blue ball spinning and then, that whole thing
yes,
humbles me a lot because I can get really like I can get really like set on something and really fixated and dig in and be like, I got to do this. I got to do this. And where I do understand and recognize the benefit of that, because some people don't have that. Like some people struggle to, really, really latch onto an idea or a goal or whatever. Um, it's also sometimes just as much of a struggle to let go of it and just live life and know that it's not that serious and that
mm-hmm.
if whatever it is, like if it's the podcast we're talking about, that like, the numbers aren't that serious and that it's okay if, we put a few episodes out that are absolute duds that we thought were going to be like, this is going to be the one, like, which
Yeah,
I haven't, thankfully, I don't know about you, but I haven't had that thought about any of them in like such a good way. Like that sounds negative,
mm-hmm.
but like, I think that we both have been able to find a pretty good balance of being like, this is something that's fulfilling us enough just doing it, that even if it's not something that we could, even if the Golden Globes isn't calling us in a few years saying you are, even though we're manifesting that. And so proud of all the podcasts that made it there this year. They're all
The
ones that I
fact that,
love.
yeah, the fact that it's
So
a
cool.
category at all says so much about the direction podcasting is going in, which is very
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
Oliver said when I told him that armchair expert, one of our favorites, made it, and he was like, "Oh, great!" And I said, "Yeah, we're really shooting to be on that list." And he's like, "Yeah, we'll have to decide what category would you guys be under." And I was like, "Oh no, it's just best podcast." There's no,
Yeah.
maybe in a few years there will be subcategories under that, but
Yeah.
it's a success enough that there's just a category for that.
Literally just one category. Yeah.
Yeah,
No subs, no comedy. Best
just
podcast
best
and a comedy.
podcast.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, I
it.
wanted to say, speaking about remembering that it's not that big of like numbers are not that big of it. Like we're so wired to numbers and views and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And you and I have talked about that before, but it's like that's such a new thing. That was not something that was around a long time ago, but not within the last like 15, not until the last 15, 20 years, but we watched
Mhm.
that documentary about John Candy. I don't know if you have seen that.
I
It's
haven't.
called I
No.
Like Me. It's
Uh-uh.
really good. And I appreciate John Candy. Like I've always thought John Candy was great, but I appreciate him so much more for the human that he was after watching this documentary. There's all these people who are interviewed on there.
Mhm.
Um, like all the people from his like early comedy troupe day, like everyone who's super famous now. Um, but he had a heart attack in when he was 43, so a year older than me, and he left behind a wife and young kids and everything. And they were just talking about how much he struggled with trying to make everyone around him okay, and how
Mhm.
he was a people pleaser, and the achievement is a big thing that really got to him too, where someone would win a Golden Globe award, for instance, and the first thing, Macaulay Culkin was talking about this in the documentary. He's like, the first thing that a reporter asks you after you win this big award and you have this huge achievement is what's next? What are you doing next?
Yeah, like that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, even in the 80s. I feel like especially in the 80s felt like it was one of those times where people were like speeding, like cocaine was running rampant and people were like,
right. And the
let me go
vibe was
fast. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
more,
A-
more.
like a lot
Bigger
of people were,
bows.
yeah, a lot of people were becoming millionaire. Like there was a lot with Wall Street going on at the time, um but yeah, that was a good reminder. I definitely was like crying a lot, like tearing up a lot during
Yeah.
that documentary because I felt such a connection to the way that John Candy was moving through life. And unfortunately, he couldn't handle it anymore. He had an anxiety attack. And then the way that I had no idea like how he had died. He was like in Durango, Mexico, filming something. And he was sitting next to the side of the bed and died, like sitting up, reading the Bible, like trying
Oh,
to
jeez.
connect back to home is what the person who was talking about it said. He grew up Catholic, so yeah, he was pretty religious, I guess, um but you're just like, damn, like what a
Yeah.
lonely way to go.
If you're listening, share it with someone. Then we have more people.
Yeah, exactly. Share it. Like, subscribe, share,
Yes.
give us a 5-star review everywhere.
The Naked Room podcast is brought to you by hot coffee, cold showers, grit and determination, the power of being a woman.
We'd like to thank ourselves. This is a self-run operation. We have done all of this on our own, other than with the help of our hot sound guy, my husband, Curtis Keeper, who curated all of our equipment and got us up and running.
If you'd like to sponsor us, reach out.